Thank you very much. You know, many people are asking me, why would you call those nice peace and police officers Nazis and Gestapo? Well, people do not know that they have been harassing me from 2005 for giving free goods and services. In my country, in Canada, you're not allowed to feed the poor without a special permission from the government. So I would be arrested. I would be ticketed. I faced over 100 court cases, dozen arrests for praying for people. That's against the law as well, unless you have a special permission from the government. And let me just add that we have a communistic prime minister, Justin Trudeau, a socialist. His brother worked for the communist government in China. And we have homosexual Muslim mayor, Naheed Nenshi, in the city of Calgary. They absolutely hate Christians with a passion, and at every corner they're passing more laws against Christians. I was the first clergyman to be arrested for publicly reading Bible. No amplification system, just to 6 of my parishioners. I was handcuffed, arrested, I faced a year jail time. You see, I love law and order because my God is law and order. But I hate corruption. When I see a police officer, and I saw a few of you fine officers and the sheriff, wow, I wish we had those types of officers in my country. People that would defend the Constitution. People that would stand for law and order. People that would uphold the law. That would defend the people that they swore to defend and work for and to serve. You see, in my country right now, those officers are no longer peace officers representing the law and order. They are more like gangsters in uniform. And as you can tell, I grew up behind the Iron Curtain. I've seen firsthand of what police, so-called, is capable of. There was a famous saying in my country, in my old country, Poland, give us a man and we'll find something on that man. Just like today, they are arresting people left and right, and they're cooking stuff. So you've seen the video of me cleaning the temple, cleansing the temple, kicking out the hyenas, I call them, the wolves from the church, but they have been hunting me down since this whole craziness started in March 2020. I had as many as 100 police officers at my Christmas celebration, 52 police cars. We were surrounded by police. They were videotaping us. They were taking pictures. And I ended up with 11 tickets. My crime? Having a church service. Feeding the poor. I feed thousands of people on the streets of Calgary. They hate that. I was told many times by the politicians that I am an embarrassment to the city of Calgary because I showed the real problem. You see, when I feed the poor, there are lineups of people. And the problem is very visible. And the city of Calgary doesn't look too good. Of course, there is huge corruption. The shelters are stealing, the politicians are crooked, and the law enforcement, instead of upholding the law to serve and protect, they have been turned into wannabe gangsters working for the biggest mafia that we have right now in Canada. When I see an officer breaking the law, he's no longer a peace officer, he's a gangster in uniform. So officers, I've talked to you and I was privileged to shake your hands because when you do your job, and what is your job is to serve and protect, to uphold the Constitution, I'll always clap for you, I'll always vote for you, I'll always say thank you. But when you choose to break the law, you're no longer an officer of the law. You're becoming a Gestapo. People don't know what Gestapo means. Those are the police officers during the Nazi era. You see, I grew up in Poland hearing the stories of the Nazis from my grandparents. My grandfather escaped from Siberia. My grandma escaped from the police in Russia on a rope to come to Poland to fight for the independence of my country. In 1776, in your country, there were people just like you and me, and they wanted to live a free life. They wanted to be free. You see, under the law of God, every man has been created equal and free. In my Bible, it says that Jesus Christ sets the captives free. No man, no politician, no officer, no sheriff has the right to enslave me. Again, while Jesus set me free. I have a right to worship my God as I choose. freely, without punishment from the government. But that's no longer the case in my country. I love one of your men that stood very strong for the civil liberties. Martin Luther King Jr. said those powerful words, "Our lives begin to end the day we become silent about things that matter." In my country, there are many great people, but they have chosen to be silent. So I decided to come here to the great America, and I am proud that you are proud Americans. You see, I'm not even an American, and I'm proud to be an American. You know what I mean? Yeah. I have witnessed you standing up for the flag. I've witnessed people across this great nation singing the national anthem. I was able to spend the 4th of July with thousands of Americans, and I watched them. I watched them closely. How they were standing, how they were singing their national anthem. You see, the love of the country is still in many hearts in this great nation. When I travel across the states, I see American flags everywhere, left and right. And you know what? It makes me proud. It's unbelievable, the love, the patriotism for the home and the country. And God is unbelievable. It touches. It's contagious. I wish I was an American. Because in my country, I am the only one in my whole region in the city of Calgary with the Canadian flag. And I have been persecuted by the Canadian government since 2005. Over 100 court cases, about 300 citations, and 30 COVID tickets. I'm facing millions of dollars in fine and 4 years prison as we speak right now. My crime, inciting people to come to church. I'm a pastor. That's what I do. I ask people to come to church. Why? Because we have entered the greatest crisis known to humans. In my country, we have never seen more people killing themselves. We see more children murdering themselves than ever in the history of Canada. Children are killing themselves. There's no hope. There's addiction, fentanyl overdose. You see, throughout of this craziness, the liquor stores were open, the marijuana stores were open, the big corporations were open. Why? Have you asked yourself a question, what's really going on? I'm telling you, they're eliminating the middle class. They're destroying small and medium-sized businesses, just like the Soviets did before. Why? Because the middle class has always been the biggest threat to their tyranny. They're after you. Why the middle class? Because you're highly educated, well-traveled, you're business people. You received your businesses, your livelihood from your parents and your great-parents. And you want to give it something to your children, and that's a no-no for the tyrannical government. That's why they're doing what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense unless you know what the plan is. Martin Luther King Jr. also said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort. We have been comfortable for too long. Canadians, Americans, the Western countries, we have took it for granted what the previous generations have given it to us. Amen. But listen, Americans, you have fought in the First World War for the liberation of my country. You fought in the Second War for the liberation of my country. And I'm very grateful for that, but let me just say something to you straightforward. It's time for the Americans to come to our rescue once more. It's time for this great eagle to start flapping its wings because we need America. The eyes, I'm telling you, I travel around the world, I'm telling you, the eyes of the free world are fixed on America. You know that? Everyone is watching you, and this is what they say, what they're going to say, what the Americans are going to do. What are senators going to say? What those governors are going to do in their states. The eyes of the people in a free world are fixed on America. Everyone is waiting with anticipation. What are you going to do? Will you rise up once again? Will you stand up? Just like he said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. We are living in the middle of controversy. The nations are divided, and they want to divide it even more. But you see, in my Bible, it says that we all have been created equal. I don't care what is your color of your skin. I actually like it when it's a little bit different. We all have been created equally. You see, in my Bible, it says that Jesus died not for the color of your skin, not for your wallet, Not for your political position, but for your soul. He lived, he died, and he rose from the grave for your soul. This whole thing is all about souls, to set the captives free. But the enemy wants to enslave us. He also said, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The time is always right to do what is right. And here is what is happening in my beautiful Canada, a nation that I emigrated. You see, I did not come to Canada for money. I was a wealthy man. My business was amazing. My El Dorado was in Greece. I started a company over there. I was very successful. All my friends were politicians and people from the front pages and chief of police. That was my El Dorado. But you see, it was a corrupted nation. Everything was corrupted. And I wanted something that Canada was offering: freedom. Freedom from corruption. Freedom from persecution. I remember the meeting I had in embassy, and they said, bring your business to Canada. We want young people like you. We want you to start business in Canada. And I'm telling you, he said to me, Canada is the freest nation on earth. No one will persecute you for your faith. And here I am today, facing 4 years prison for inciting people to come to church. Today, as we speak, 24 churches were burned to the ground. You know that? Do you know what is happening across the border in Canada? We have never seen bigger persecution of Christians in the history of Canada. You know that? Pastors are being arrested. Churches are being fenced. The locks in our churches are being broken and changed by the government. And if you dare to enter your own property, you will be arrested and years of jail time. Preventing parishioners from worshiping their God. Injustice, lawlessness, no rule of law anymore. I stood before the judge, and the first thing he said to me was, we are in the middle of greatest pandemic, and I'll paraphrase, I'm a lawbreaker, and I am a risk to society. I'm the super spreader. Even though I feed thousands of people, I did not stand a chance in front of that crooked judge. You see, we need you. I talked to my wife and I said, what should I do? We can't even trust the courts anymore. We can't trust politicians. After 24 churches were vandalized and burned, you know what the politicians said? The right hand of the prime minister, so that's your president, the right hand of this guy said, you deserve it. But I'm telling you, don't you dare to touch mosques or Muslims or imams, because every politician in the country would be crying out. And every mainstream liars, propaganda machineries will be carrying this story asking for jihad. But Christians, there's an open season for Christians. So I talked to my wife and I said, what should I do now? I don't stand a chance with the politicians over there, so I came here. I came here with two things. And I only were given 15 minutes, and I know it's hard. But I have two messages for you. I don't know if I will be able to deliver, but one is to scare you. I want to scare you. Yes, I want to scare you, because if you're not going to rise up, if you're not going to stand up, you will have Canada tomorrow. If today Americans will not stand up, you will have what is happening in Canada tomorrow. And that's just history. What's happening over there is going to happen to you. And you thought to yourself that you have a great ally across the border. Let me tell you something. In my city, in my province, they're training Chinese troops as we speak right now. You think your enemy is going to strike from outside, but I'm telling you, it will strike from within. People say to me, where is the enemy? Is the enemy approaching? And I said, you have been sleeping for the past 20, 30 years. The enemy is not coming. The enemy is not at the gate. The enemy is within. You're surrounded by enemies. The White House has been turned into a black house with aliens. It's being invaded by illegals. You have so many crooked politicians that is unbelievable. What is happening here right now is it happened in Canada. I was warning Canadians since 2005. And here we are, 16 years later. We've lost our nation. So I want to plead with you. I want to scare you a little bit that they will come for you. They came for me. Be sure of it, they will come for you. Why? Because you are a symbol of free world. The eyes of the men across this great planet are fixed on America. They need to destroy you. They need to remove that symbol of freedom. They're coming after you unless you rise up again. And you will show those devils, those psychopaths, those Nazis, Gestapo wannabe tyrants that Americans are truly strong and free, powerful, brave. You've rescued us again. I'm asking you to do the same today. The previous generations and the veterans, I'm so grateful to you. I meet so many veterans across this great nation. People that will come to me and say, well, my father fought in Europe. Well, your father fought for the liberation of my country. Thank you. But now it's time again for the Americans to rise up and fight for the liberation of other countries. The great eagle needs to be awakened. In my Bible, it says that Jesus is the lion from the tribe of Judah. And if you are a Christian, you're also a lion. It's time for the lions to start roaring. There's too many hyenas left and right. We have to take back what's rightfully ours. You see, you have been born here or you emigrated here. This is your inheritance, you know that? This is your promised land. When God said to Israelites, I'm giving you a promised land, He says to Joshua, be strong and courageous. Be very courageous. I've told you to be strong and very courageous. And now go and possess what's rightfully yours. We have been apathetic, uninterested, lukewarm as a church for so long that we've lost the saltiness. We've lost the light. Now the young generations, they don't know what's right and wrong anymore. They don't know what's really going on. We have to show them how to stand up. And here's one of your great presidents. This is what he said. My dream is of a place and a time where America will once again be seen as the last best hope of earth. No man is good enough to govern another man without the other's consent. In my country, I have no more say. As a pastor, they've called us unessential services. They've canceled our Christmas, and yet they opened Halloween. They encouraged the kids to participate in a Halloween, and then they hammered us during Christmas, and they commanded us to shut the churches down. You see, if this was a real pandemic, I would submit myself to the restrictions. But I know that this is the biggest lie I have ever seen. Goebbels, the propaganda minister for Adolf Hitler, he said those words, propaganda, propaganda, propaganda. What it matters is just propaganda. We're being lied to. We're being enslaved. This is the greatest elimination of the middle class. What are you going to do about it? Will you rise up? Will you stand up? And I know many of you do. But also I have seen people apathetic, uninterested, people that say, well, it's not going to come to me. You see, I've heard from many Americans these words. We have our Constitution. So let me give you a mini history of Poland. Poland was the second country on earth that implemented Constitution just after the United States of America. And by the way, our generals fought for your independence, Kościuszko, Pawlowski. Those generals saved the armies during the war for independence. Poland had constitution throughout the time of the occupation of the Russians, you know that? But you see, the wannabe tyrants don't care about your piece of paper. It's just a piece of paper for them. They don't care about the rule of law and justice. They don't care about the courts. If you were arrested during the communist era for whatever reason, for example, for listening to a European radio or reading a pamphlet that was not approved by the Communist Party, you were tortured, just like I was. After my arrest, I was tortured by the police. 3 days without sleep on the concrete. I was shoved on the wall. They put shackles on my feet. I'm a pastor. I have zero record of violence. I've never been charged with assault. I preach with my words. My sword is my tongue. That's my weapon, the truth. And they're terrified of that truth. Because you see, the truth stands on its own. It doesn't need any support. It's like a pillar. But the lie has to be supported with more lies. And that's what you hear every single day in the news. Misinformation, disinformation, lie after lie. And if you don't obey the lie, tyranny, fear. And they're using, unfortunately, police officers, peace officers, judges against the people. And I say that those politicians, those crooked politicians, should be all charged for treason. Every one of them. A Nuremberg trial number 2. So we had a constitution during the communism, but no one cared about our piece of paper. You see, the truth is, you have to care about your piece of paper. Amen. It's up to you. It's not up to them. Those people over there, majority of them in Washington, D.C., they want to hurt you. They want to harm you. They want to enslave you. And they're doing it in front of your eyes. And let me just say something. Tennessee is one of the best states in the country. I get it. I understand. I listened to your governor, and I was like, my God. I wish I was an American, and I would move here. What a man. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Congressman. Thank you for boldly saying that you believe in Jesus Christ, because in my country, that's unbelievable. No politician, except a handful, will dare to even mention that they're Christians. That's unacceptable. You cannot do that. That's a political assassination. You have to say you're pro-abortion, murdering children, you're homosexual, and you will attend homosexual pride, perversion parades. You have to be liberal, even if you are conservative. So thank you, sir. Because when you mentioned the name of my Lord, that melted my heart. Coming from a politician, openly like this, I never hear stuff like that. And I am surrounded by politicians all the time. And hearing your governor boldly saying he's a Christian, wow, what a blessed people you are. And you, sometimes you take that for granted. You got your blessings, now help us to get our blessings. Because I believe without the United States of America, without this big, great eagle, we don't stand a chance. Just like we didn't stand a chance against the Nazis. If you guys would not join, I think it would be over for us. So I'm here on this soil asking you, come to the rescue once again. Help us so we can stay as the nation that God intended it to be. In our national anthem, it says, God, keep our land glorious and free. We were founded by Christians, just like America was founded by Christians. In our parliament, there are scriptures on the wall. Our nation is called Dominion of Canada from Psalm, that Jesus Christ will have dominion from sea to sea. Our forefathers were godly men, and they founded a godly and good nation. Not a perfect nation, but a good nation. And we've lost that. We've lost that because we did not pay attention. Now we need your help once again. So I pray in the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth that this boldness, this bravery of America, this freedom that is in your DNA will rise up once again and start roaring like never before. Because if they came for us, if they came for me, they're going to come for you. It's just a matter of time. Be blessed.
Thank you, Pastor.